Raw, my friends. It's the last ups and downs of 2024. And of course, when it comes to Monday Night Raw, which rhymes, it's the last one on the USA Network, which has pretty much always been the station for Raw. I mean, there was that little bit of a gap in the middle, but if you are a sentimental so-and-so like I am, well, it's a pretty big deal. Of course, we're off to Netflix next week, which is super cool. And hello, my buddies, my pals. Welcome to Ups and Downs. And as we have got to, like I say, the last one of 2024, I want to say Happy New Year. I hope you have a tremendous 2025. And I genuinely do appreciate you sticking by me for another 12 months. I mean, look at me. I'm an absolute idiot, but your love means so much to me, as does the finger of power. So we have got a Raw in the books. Let's give the good bits an up. And the bad bits are down. I was so pleased when Raw did kick off too, because here were the New Day, or the New Day, even though I meant to hate them, don't tell anyone, I secretly love them. They were just so mad during their entrance, they told the fans to shut up and they told everyone to turn their music off, and every time they tried to speak, they weren't able to, because they have Dominic Mysterio syndrome. Everybody was going boo. They eventually got so pissed off, it looked like they were going to leave. When Jey Uso's music hit, my gosh, the pop for this guy was absolutely ridiculous. But it did tie in, because before the New Day had arrived, Wade Barrett was telling us, oh, we're about to talk to Jey Uso, but we didn't get Jey Uso, and we got the New Day. And then, given that the fans continued to boo the New Day, Jey had to go, all right, just give it a little bit of a moment and let them talk. Yeet. Basically, Xavier Woods was like, man, Jey, we go back all the way. And Jey was like, we do, but the New Day sucks. And it looked like they were going to get into it when Kofi Kingston was like, man, let's just bail. And I think this was a tease, and I'm very intrigued to see where it's going to go. Obviously, Jey had come out here to address different things. So he said, man, I hate the Bloodline 2.0, and I also hate that damn Drew McIntyre. So, Mr. Scottish Warrior, I want to fight you later tonight. Solo Sikoa must have not appreciated that, because he appeared on the big screen. He even went, Jey, up here. I was like, Solo, everyone can see you. You're on a big screen. You're a giant. He also thinks that Jimmy and Jey made a terrible mistake going back with Roman Reigns, which is why he's going to beat his ass next week. We do go to Netflix. He shall become the real tribal chief. Once again, we have to go into secret mode here. I'm starting to side with Solo Sikoa. He is always with his group. He is always with his flock. And as for Roman, I guess he just fell into the Phantom Zone. Where is he? Drew McIntyre then did his favourite teleportation trick, because he appeared in the ring and he whooped Jey's ass. Well, actually, Uso was able to hit him with a kick that was super. But because a bunch of WWE officials and useless wrestling security guards came to the ring, eventually Drew was like, all right, I'm going to leave. But he was lying, and he went back to Jey, and he Claymore kicked his head off. So I really do think that we have to take Drew and Dre in 2025 and make them major players. I mean, you could either move them over to SmackDown and just sell them like the biggest thing since sliced bread. Both guys have such momentum, and it's a fight that I do want to see. Also, I thought it was a very good opening segment, because I'm just so excited what we are going to do with the New Day. Let's get it up. Kathy Kelly was then chatting to Chad Gable, because he was about to take on Otis. And Chad went, beating that guy is on my bucket list. Don't forget, a bucket list is something you make when you know that you are going to pass away and you want to achieve certain things. A little bit like Chad, I think you should come up with a better bucket list. He was actually telling the truth though, because him and Otis went to the ring. Damn it, Chad Gable won. It's a sad panda. Also a happy panda. It's a weird feud. It started with Chad deciding he was going to chop Otis too, but that was the equivalent of hugging a carrot. I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to achieve here. Otis then threw Chad out the ring because he is a powerful guy. Turns out Gable is a very location-oriented person, because now he was outside of the ring, he saw Tozawa, and he saw Maxine Dupree, and it's like, you know what? I hate you too. This just allowed Otis to grab him, though, and hurl him around like he was a child. You know the deal in WWE. If you are a giant, eventually you are going to go running too much, and he went for one too many shoulder tackles. Gable got out of the way. Damn, Otis ate Rhea the ring post. Gable then instantly went after the leg, because this makes all the sense in the world. Doesn't matter how big you are, if you can't walk, you're not going to be able to do much. But that didn't work, because Chad Gable missed the diving headbutt, and all of a sudden Otis was all over him again, to the point he even hit the caterpillar, and these damn American-made goobers, they grabbed Chad Gable's foot and they put it on the ropes, meaning it was a 1-2-0. The Creeds then decided to go full plan B because they attacked Tozawa, and Otis was like, no, you're not doing that. So he whooped their tuchus when Maxine Dupree smashed Ivy Nile. Big pop. Chad then instantly applied the ankle lock to Otis when the student became the master, because then he reversed this and he had the ankle lock on Chad Gable. but you could just feel deep down your tootsie toes this wasn't going to go his way. Because this Chad Gable is so good. He gave Otis this deadlift German suplex, which may have been the best thing I ever saw in my life, when Ivy Nile basically decided to try to attack Otis from behind. Like, she grabbed his foot, and at first Otis turned around like, I'm going to eat you. Actually turned out to be a pretty good distraction. Because Chad did indeed fly in with the mega ankle lock. He even fell down and was going, "Whoa!" And clearly Otis' ankle was like, bro, I can't take this anymore. Otherwise we are going to snap. And he tapped out. So this one cut deep, but if it does mean that 2025 is going to be the year of Chad Gable, I am all about this. But we should also push Otis too, because if you watch professional wrestling to just feel lovely jubbly about someone, he could be in the #1 spot. And yes, of course, it's a shame that we took so long to get here, because we did lose some of the momentum. But otherwise, like I'm telling you, this hit me right in the emotion can, which is the whole point of wrestling. Let's get it up. Rhea, Ripley, and Liv Morgan then had this really cool video package, because they are having their last woman standing championship match next week. If you ask me, I think we should pull the trigger. Rhea should win that title back. As such, we also cut to the Judgment Day after this, and none of them were happy, although Liv Morgan wasn't there. Raquel Rodriguez was like, it's okay, she's preparing for her match. There was always Finn Balor. I didn't want to talk about any of this because he wants to go to the ring and deal with Damian Priest and the War Raiders, something I'm pretty sure he has been doing for the last 427 years, but he did tell Liv Morgan, I'm really rooting for her. Now listen, I don't call myself a detective, but if I was Sherlock Holmes, I don't think he was telling the truth. And I would imagine come next year, these guys are all going to break up, but it is the time. We shall never forget what they've given us. They had a pretty damn good run. When I thought we were going to get a payoff, but instead we didn't really get anything. So R-Truth was headed to the ring to take on Pete Dunne. Because Pete Dunne is still so mad that he gets getting called Butch, he attacked R-Truth during his entrance. And of course, he got all the mega heat because fans wanted to sing along. Dunne also kept shouting, I'm nobody's Butch, which is a quite frankly ridiculous sentence. And I thought we were going to get more of this later, but we got nothing, which makes it very hard to review and rank, because maybe we are going to do this on next week's show, which would make all the sense in the world. You want your wrestling to be a variety event. But yeah, got nothing for you. Pete Dunne beat up R-Truth because he doesn't like being called Butch. Now, admit me, maybe this is going a little bit too long, but I can't help it, man. I'm in love with R-Truth. Right now, I'm perfectly fine with it. Io Sky and Dakota Kai were then being interviewed, where they made a very good point, because they were like, oh yeah, we are both in the semi-finals for this Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament, which means if we do win later, we are going to do a damage control final. So that instantly told me that WWE wasn't going to do that, because it was way too on the nose when we did get to our first match, Zoe Stark taking on Dakota Kai. And this one tore me in two, because Dakota is deserving. You know the deal with Zoe on ups and downs. We stand her on this show. Because she is just someone that needs better opportunities, and she definitely needs her group to have a better name. But this is so funny, because the commentators don't call them the Pure Fusion Collective anymore. They call them the PFC. Quite clearly someone had gone, hey guys, we made a terrible mistake and we need to rectify it. Dakota had a plan though, which was just to boot Zoe as hard in the face as possible. But that then came back to whoop her in the ass, because Zoe was like, well, wait a minute, if she's going to boot me in the face, I'm going to knee her in her jaw. That's what she did. It also inspired Stark to do a drop kick when, man, did she come out with the big guns, because she got hit by the most powerful force in all of sports entertainment, the commercial break. But actually, when we came back from the advert, she was still in control. That rarely happened. Sadly though, Dakota then remembered that Zoe Stark did have a back, so she decided to crack it. Honestly, that's when they turned it up a little gear. This was a good match. One was so severe, Zoe went for the pinfall, but only got a 1-2 when she made a terrible mistake. She was like, I'm going to do a springboard. Dakota was like, no, you're not. And she super kicked her in midair. That led to the fireman's carry and that big boot kick thingamajig that she does do. Was it called the Dakota Fire of Death or something like that? And she did get the 1-2-3. I gotta be honest with you, this did make me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum, because this is so cool the way that WWE has booked these tournaments. Let's give the opportunities to the people that don't usually get the opportunities. Give it in. We then got this awesome video reminding you of all the great memories that we have had from Raw on the USA Network. And yeah, we saw Bryan Danielson, we saw Edge, and we saw Chris Jericho. And this is an absolute plus when it does come to the brand new WWE. The old version would just pretend that if you left the company, you didn't exist anymore, which was stupid. If somebody has been through the system and they've done a good job, let's always celebrate. We also learned that John Cena is going to be on next week's episode of Raw, being that it is the big Netflix show, which makes all the sense in the world. We're probably going to see The Rock too when it was time for Judgment Day. versus the Damian Priest and the War Raiders. The reason I laugh is that even though we've never seen this match before, given the last few weeks, kind of feel like I'd seen it 7,422 times. Now, and I do feel bad telling you this, but I'll always be honest. When I did realize it was this, I just groaned a little bit. It's like, man, this is never going to end. They did have a good match, I'm not saying that, but it just means it is time to separate all of these guys, especially someone like Damian Priest, who has such a good 2024. He's like a super, mega, awesome, badass babyface, but he just needs new opponents. Also, when the Judgment Day came out, they had this brand new music. Now listen, one, I'm going to presume it's because they are about to split up, so you don't need to pay the licensing fee to Alter Bridge anymore. And also two, yeah, if they are going to go in their different directions, you just want to start adding new elements. But of all the people that didn't need new entrance theme, the Judgment Day were one of them. It just felt like such a downgrade. So when you throw that all into one big little package, I'm not sure how you can have a big little package, but we've done it now. Just has to get a little bit of a down. Of course, it was super entertaining though, because they do know what they're doing. And we start with Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. And I would imagine they have one more last match in them, because as soon as Finn Balor could tag out to JD McDonough, exactly what he did. Damian then tagged in Eric, who started to throw some bones, when him and Ivar just did this best double team move. I mean, they were essentially using each other as projectiles. Balor then realized he was going to have to save his friend, but that didn't work at all, because him and JD McDonough just got thrown into out of the announce table, and the fight was on. Now the production truck must be huge fans of the Day of Judgment, because it's the most powerful force in all sports entertainment. The commercial break did hit, and surprise, surprise, when we came back, Eric was in trouble, but not for that long. I think he saw Ivar's hand had steam on it. It gave him a little bit of a hot tag. He went crazy for a while too, until he missed a Bronco Buster, and I was like, Ivar, what are you thinking? But this too was a tease, because over in the corner, Damian Priest was now at 100 Celsius, and he got the hot tag. This dude ran wild. He was all ready to hit the big choke slam on Dominic Mysterio too, when of course Carlito was helping out. And I was like, right, who is it in WWE that allows Carlito to keep going to the ring? I think we can see the problem. It surprised Damian, who then got a chop block, because once again, doesn't matter how big you are, if you can't walk, you can't move. When the War Raiders was like, don't worry, Damo, that's why we're here. They took out the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio did get the big choke slam. 1, 2, 3. So he is another guy that should be moved to SmackDown and just pushed to the moon. Maybe we can live up there and build a little bit of a house. And even though Finn Balor did attack him afterwards, once again, this is why he had employed the War Raiders. They had his back. So I am going to give it an up, and again, I think we should do one last match between Finn and Damian. Then they need to go off on their separate ways. Jey Uso then got screwed by Adam Pearce, because he was like, listen, bro, I know you wanted a match with Drew McIntyre later, but I cannot give that to you, because we have to eject Drew from the building. And of course, no wrestler has ever been able to get back into a building once they have been kicked out, but this actually works out for us, because it has been moved to the Netflix show, which now actually is becoming like a mini WrestleMania. Speaking of that night too, we got some more teasing. Well, no, this one wasn't a tease at all. Because we did get our Egg Slash video, and turns out it's not going to be the infamous Egg Slash, because at the end of this, we got a drawing, and yeah, let's just be honest here, it was a drawing of Pentagon's mask. The fact that he's going to be on that Netflix show as well, I just think is so cool. I think this could be really good if we do it right, and the pop he's going to get, gonna give you the goosebumps. It then turned out that WWE needed some heat after this, so out came Bowser's son Ludwig Kaiser. He called himself European Elegance, which I thought was a very good line. When he got right into it, he's like, listen to me, Braun Breaker, don't know why he's from Italy, I want to challenge you again for the IC title. I was cool with that. I will take it again. Just when you thought Breaker was going to show up, instead we actually got another return, because it was Sheamus. I love this guy. He just walked to the ring, and he pummeled Ludwig Kaiser, and he killed him with the bro kick. At one point, Ludwig was going to try and rake his eyes, but the Irishman wasn't into that. And I presume we will do this match next week. So I hope you've got 8 hours. That's how long that Raw is going to go. The thing is, though, if we do get Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser round 3, I believe, I'm never going to be mad about that, because they have such good chemistry. Somebody throw them in a science class. So this was simple, but it was effective, and both characters are over, which is the secret sauce when it comes to wrestling. Up. Rey Mysterio was then trying to cheer Otis up, because of course he had a terrible night. When the New Day walked in, These two make me laugh. They were like, Otis, you suck. Rey was so mad, he challenged them for a tag team match next week. So again, that Raw is now 9 hours. And the New Day did accept, but we don't know who Rey Mysterio's partner is. So I'm just going to pretend to tell you right now, maybe it's going to be Pentagon. Now, that would be a little bit strange, because I think the New Day need to get some wins, given they have just turned heel. But at the same time, I can smell a tag team title run in their future. So if they lose a few matches now, it's not actually going to matter at all. When Io Sky did it again, I mean, this stage, she's just pure Britney Spears. It is the same for Lyra Valkyria too, because they were going at it in the semi-finals of that IC title tournament. Honestly, you should find 10 to 15 minutes today and watch this. It is damn good. I mean, they were just going super fast and doing Matrix-style dodges. When Lyra Valkyria was like, man, screw this shib, and she booted Io right in the knee. Yeah, why not? She then applied this bizarre submission, but you know the deal. The more bizarre something is, the more effective it is. When Sky went to the top rope, that didn't work either. She totally missed. Stop going to the top rope. Turned out I'm an idiot, because Io did do that when she hit a drop kick. When Lyra was like, well, that's cool, I'll do a drop kick too. By this stage, it was just back and forth tennis. We were having the 1-2 oohs. And while I thought that Io Sky was going to win, I wasn't 100% sure. So yeah, this was just top stuff. Io also hit this incredible German suplex, but screw that, because they did go back to the tippity top of T the turnbuckle, and Lyra hit this avalanche slam thingamajig, which killed Io Sky. And given that only got a 1-2, I started to go, oh, Io's going to win. But once again, I was being a numpty. They just kept going at it as well, and the pace of this thing was absolutely ridiculous. And even though Io Sky was able to get her moonsault to the outside, she wasn't able to nail it in the ring. And you know the deal, if you do something on the outside, it's not as good as when you do something on the inside. I don't make the rules. It also meant these two went into the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up battle. And it turned out that Lyra was better at surprise roll-ups than Io Sky, because she got a fast one, she got the 1-2-3, and now Lyra's going to the final. Now that finish is overdone, but it works in scenarios like this, especially given it's a tournament. It makes it feel like a real contest, and what an upset treat this is, because now either Lyra or Dakota is going to become the first ever Women's Intercontinental Champion, and that's the right thing to do. Let's take one of them, turn them into a star. So this really was the match of the night, and I thought the whole thing was super exciting. And again, I think the finals are going to be on that Raw, so we extend it to 10 hours. Let's gang it up. When two dudes decided, you know what? Time to steal the show. Now it does sound like CM Punk versus Seth Rollins is going to be the main event of that Netflix show in 7 days' time, which is a huge deal. And it started off with Seth coming out. He was all like, here I am. He got right into it as well, because he was like, man, that CM Punk likes to call himself the best in the world, but that's total drivel. Because if you are looking for the best in the world, well, your eyes are fixated on him right now. We then started the personal jabs, because Rollins was like, listen, nobody knows what is going to happen next week, but I can guarantee you that I will be here. But I can't say the same for one CM Punk. You know the deal with him. If you upset him, he may go home and we'll never see him again. Clearly CM was just backstage going, man, he better not go too far or I'm going to go out there, because he did interrupt. And this is what I just need to tell you at some point today. You need to go and watch this. It is one of the best promo offs we have seen in years. So he instantly took umbrage with this idea that CM Punk took his ball and went home, because that is the ultimate bootlicker line, and really just comes from the top of the company, which is why Seth keeps saying it, because he's the ultimate bootlicker. Punk even said when Steve Austin left, did he take his ball and go home? And actually, let's talk about your wife, Becky Lynch. We haven't seen her for a while. Did she take her ball and go home? This was like, oh man, just gonna get back. It all comes down to making decisions, and CM Punk has never regretted a single decision he has made. When he blurred reality with kayfabe so good, because he was like, why don't we talk about you, Seth Rollins? How's your brain? How's your knee? How's the fact that Bronson Reed squished you with 6 tsunamis, and I was the one that got revenge? I broke his ankle in the War Games, and what do you do? Absolutely nothing. Seth then fired back too, because he defended his wife, saying Becky was at home taking care of our kid, something you would know nothing about. I was like, man, that is a layered insult, man, and we may not know the half of it. That could have been the most personal line of all. Rollins then laid into him massively as well, because he talked about the Colt Cabana podcast. He talked about after that, he just tried to tear down the WWE every single week. And when that didn't work, what did he do? He took a bunch of cash and he went to a competition, and by the way, that was a huge failure as well. Seth didn't do any of that though, because he had stayed in the WWE and tried to build this place up, because that's what you do if you're trying to lead a revolution. And given that CM Punk earlier and called himself the Big Brother, Ron's like, nope, you ain't the Big Brother no more, I'm the Big Brother. Now, me saying it, that sounds absolutely pathetic, but again, that's why you need to watch it, because context is king, and these two were just ripping each other apart. CM had even more too, because he was like, listen, as I've always said, I love this company, but I hated the person in charge, who, by the way, loved you. And what did you do right after that as well? You proved my point, because you went and stabbed Roman Reigns and everybody else in the back, and now you're whining about a situation that you created for yourself, because you just want to be a damn mark. It eats you up inside as well, because throughout that decade, everybody used to chant my name, especially when you were on TV. And let's not forget that when I was trying to fight my battles, and you should have had my back, instead you were taking arrows and sticking them in there. So now they've essentially got the same beef with each other. They used to be friends, and now they've fallen out. This is all totally fine though, because CM Punk will take these arrows and next week jam them down Seth Rollins' throat. I was like, hope you don't mean literally, Mr. Punk. I don't want to see that. Rollins had the final right hook as well, because he was like, listen, I'm just going to tell you straight, you did used to be a pioneer, but now you are nothing but a cancer to me and this industry, and the only way to stop a cancer is to rip it out. So once again, I hope he doesn't mean that literally, otherwise we're going to see arrows going down someone's throat, and then we're going to see that throat be ripped out. Don't say it couldn't happen. I mean, Seth Rollins, he was involved in an eye versus an eye. He's also going to burn Punk to the ground. So that's 3 for 3. It's going to be a messy match. I really hope if they do this, my mother isn't watching. They then stared at each other to finish Raw, and honestly, if you were some kind of wrestling genie and you were like, oh, I want the best segment ever to promote a match, well, you'd probably come up with this. It really is everything a 2024 promo should be, because you can believe it and suspend your disbelief, and some of it is real and some of it is kayfabe, but we've mixed it together so well to the point I ain't just giving it an up. I am giving it a golden up. And I keep going on about this, but you need to listen to this bald idiot. Find 10 to 15 minutes a day to watch this. I actually don't think they could have done it any better. And in terms of professional wrestlers, well, listen, I'm going to settle debate right now. They are genuinely 2 of the best in the world. Which brought us to the last ever Raw on the USA Network. And what a way to go out again. It's absolutely one of the best promos of the year. A fair play to Seth Rollins and CM Punk, who left it to the very last day. That's super exciting stuff. And this Raw, it is getting it up. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs, so smack it down so you can get all of this bald idiot's opinions. But otherwise, my friends, have a great end to 2024. Have an even better 2025. This train of madness will never stop. And that's all thanks to your support. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you in a brand new year.